Good morning, everybody. I've had several requests to show how I make my roasted Brussels sprouts, so I wanted to take some time today to show you how to roast some Brussels sprouts. And I need to make my vegetables for the week as well, so I just have the rest of those cooking, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about making my other vegetables. I'm also baking some green beans. So I'm going to have 2 sheet cake pans that I'm going to put in my oven. And then I have 2 pots on my stove top. And basically at that point, I will have made my vegetables for the entire week when I'm finished with all this cooking. And it's probably going to take about an hour maybe for all of this to cook in totality. But I'm not going to be standing in the kitchen for an hour. It's just going to take that long for it to actually cook. So in this big pot, which I've shown you guys before, I have riced cauliflower that I'm making. So I started this big pot with 2 containers of chopped mushrooms, and I didn't even cut an onion myself. At Deerberg's, they sell chopped onion. So I put 1 container of chopped onion in with this. So that's 2 containers of chopped mushrooms, 1 container of chopped onion, and then what I did was I microwaved 4 bags of riced cauliflower, just the Green Giant riced cauliflower. And after cooking the mushrooms and the onions down pretty good, I put a little bit of bone broth in there with them. I started with avocado oil, and then I put a little bit of bone broth in with the onion and the mushrooms, let that simmer a little bit after they were finished. And then I put the 4 packages of riced cauliflower in with the mushrooms and the onions. And they've been slow simmering for about 20 minutes now. And so I'm going to keep them simmering this entire time because the longer they simmer, the better they taste. So just to kind of give you an idea, this is what it looks like. I know that's not really close up, but this is what it looks like. So I'm going to take it a little bit closer so you can see. So that's little pokes of mushroom, and then the baked cauliflower's in there. A little bit of bone broth is in there. I put some sea salt and pepper in there. And then my secret that I always add to this, just for flavor, which people always ask me, what is that taste that's in there? What's that extra little taste that I'm tasting? It's just Frank's Red Hot. It's really nothing fancy. I just take some of this Frank's Red Hot and I put, you know, maybe like 8 good dashes. And I mean, that's 4 bags, so that's why I put so much. And that really just adds a little bit of flavor. It almost adds a little bit of kick to that riced cauliflower. So then on my other skillet over here, I have noodles. I have zucchini noodles. So this entire skillet is filled with zucchini noodles. And you do not have to cook zucchini noodles like this. This is just, I'm going to switch these so you guys can see them without trying to set my kitchen on fire. Okay. So I have an entire pan full of zucchini noodles. And all I'm doing is sauteing them because I like the way they taste when they're browned. And I use avocado oil because avocado oil has a higher heat temp. So see how I'm just moving these around? It's just zucchini noodles made with a little zoodler thing. But really the best thing, and what I would suggest doing for these noodles, is that Pure Plates sells those by the pound. So if you don't have time and you don't have a little zoodler, then just buy the zucchini noodles by the pound from Pure Plates. And they deliver at our Integrity location on Tuesdays and Fridays. And you don't have to be a client of Integrity. You can come in and pick up your food and leave. We have a big cooler. But all you would do is call Pure Plates or go to pureplatesstl.com, and you can just tell them, I want 6 pounds of zucchini. If you were to get a pound of zucchini from them, I would tell you that this whole skillet right now is full of zucchini, and that's really going to cook down to be about 2 meals. So that's actually the zucchini that I'm going to eat today. So just to give you an idea. So if you're going to get a pound of zucchini, I would get a pound of zucchini for each day if you were going to have zucchini twice. Because if you're going to cook it down like this. Now, another way to make the zucchini noodles would be a sheet cake pan. Throw them out on a sheet cake pan, salt and pepper them, and then throw them in the oven at 350. That'd be another way you could make those noodles. Another thing you can do is just put a vinaigrette on top of the noodles and just warm them up a little bit. You don't really have to cook them. I just like the taste when they've been browned. Just like the rice cauliflower. I could have just made that onion and the mushroom mixture. I could have microwaved my cauliflower, mixed it all together, and been done. And it actually would have tasted really good because that bone broth would have flavored it. But I like to take things to a little bit deeper level because I'm going to be eating this all week long. So I don't want to eat just bland, plain food. Part of the reason why people get so stuck on diets and the reason why they don't succeed is because they make their food so plain that they don't even enjoy eating it. So again, I've got this over here on a slow simmer, and I'm just stirring it. You know, I'm just stirring it as I'm cooking everything else. I just go through and give this a really good stir. And the thing that happens is it slowly starts to brown as I'm cooking it like that. And it makes it taste so much better. So if you are going to cook other things, make your cauliflower taste 100 times better by just letting it slow and low simmer. If you're going to cook other things, throw your zucchini in a skillet and just let it brown while you're cooking the other items. And then the zucchini will taste 100 times better than just eating it al dente. So my suggestion would be take things to a different level so that your food isn't bland. You know, it doesn't have to be bland. And that cauliflower is going to last me all week. That's 5 days worth of cauliflower, and there's 4 bags of cauliflower. So when it comes to Brussels sprouts, again, I always have people that want to know how do you make your Brussels sprouts, because if they come over for, you know, a dinner or something at our house, they always really enjoy the Brussels sprouts. I've got the oven preheated to 350. I buy these at Deerberg's. This is the easiest thing in the world. Look at it. They've already cut the stem off the Brussels sprout. They've already cut them in half for me, and they've already put onion in with it. It's the simplest thing. Now, at the holidays, I didn't order them ahead of time, and so therefore I had to cut all of my Brussels sprouts in half and cut the stem off. And I remember why I do this. Deerberg's is really good if you call them at the beginning of the week, or if you call them over the weekend and you tell them how many packages of this you're going to need for your weekly food. Tell them, I need to be able to pick up 6 packages. They'll have it ready for you. They'll hold it for you in back. This is a great way of, you know, it's easy to get things prepared. Now, another thing is Pure Plates. They will get you your Brussels sprouts by the pound, and they're already sort of al dente, so they're kind of almost prepared. So you could take those Brussels sprouts home and put those in a skillet with some onion and start cooking them. So it'd be either Pure Plates that could pre-prepare them, or it'd be Deerberg's that would already have them prepped. You would just have to bake them. This is like easy as pie, guys. This is a simple way to make these vegetables for the week. And there's ways of other people helping you to prep them. Now, so what I do is I just take this package, I open it up with clean hands, and what I've done is I've lined a sheet cake pan with unbleached parchment paper. So this is just a sheet cake pan. See how it has sides on the edges? I get mine at Williams-Sonoma just because I always get so many discount coupons from them for the years of shopping there. But Sam's sells these in like sets of 5. Because it's in the restaurant area, and I mean, that's a great place to get them. And you want to have like 5 or 6 sheet cake pans, and you just want them ready so that when you're making your food for the week, boom, you just do a sheet cake pan. Do you have to have this parchment paper? Absolutely not. You can put it right on the sheet cake pan. I just like to be able to have the ease of not having so much cleanup. So I put the parchment paper down, and then when I'm done, I just soak this pan in some soap and water, and then I don't have to fill up my dishwasher with all these pans. It just makes it easier for me. It's just the way I like to do it. So I'm going to take 2 containers of these Brussels sprouts, and I'm going to dump them out. Again, these have already been cut in half, and they have onion chopped in with them. Believe it or not, I'm actually making these for Sophie, because I'm going to eat the green beans that I'm baking, and I'm going to eat the rice cauliflower. And Sophie is 5. She's in kindergarten, and she loves roasted Brussels sprouts. So for all of you who say my kid won't eat it, my kid loves sugar and she loves candy, but she also loves roasted Brussels sprouts. She actually likes whatever we give her for the most part. The only thing I've really ever heard Sophie complain about was cantaloupe, and she doesn't like mushrooms. So I will just pick the mushrooms out, but she just doesn't like, I don't think, the texture. But other than that, she eats everything we give her. So when Sophie is going to school, I'm packing her lunch. I'm going right over here because I just thought of something that I want to show you guys. And I pack her lunch. She has a little cooler. I bring this little thing. This is for hot foods. I warm up her Brussels sprouts in the morning and make them really warm. I put them in here, and then she takes them to school for lunch, and she loves them. I mean, she just absolutely loves them. So anyways, this is my 5-year-old. So these Brussels sprouts are for her. There's no reason why her kids can't eat healthy. You just got to start them young, and you have to make the food taste good. You can't just give them boiled Brussels sprouts and expect that they're going to like what you're making them. You've got to put seasoning on it. You got to roast it so they brown and so they caramelize. I'm just stirring around my zucchini noodles here so that nothing burns. And you got to make the vegetables taste better than just a package put in the microwave and steamed. Now I'm just turning my rice cauliflower so it doesn't burn. And again, I've got it on pretty low because I'm just browning it, just slowly browning it. So I've got my Brussels sprouts here on my sheet cake pan, and they're covered. You know, what I like to make sure you do is don't get stingy with the area on the pan. If you have to use 3 pans, use 3 pans. You want this to be covered, like covering the whole pan. We don't want Brussels sprouts on top of Brussels sprouts. The only way they can brown really good is if they've got their own territory. You don't want any of them on top of each other. I know that's being pretty picky, but I'm telling you, they'll taste better if you take the time. So we didn't have to cut them. We didn't have to cut the stem off. We didn't have to cut them in half. We didn't have to cut the onions. So we can take the time to do that. Here's my avocado oil. Avocado oil has a high heat temp, all the way up to 500 degrees. I'm only going to cook them at 350, but I'd still rather use the avocado oil than the olive oil because of the heat temp. If you're going to use olive oil, then I would cook them at 300 or 325. So I'm going to take my oil. People always ask, how much oil? See how I'm drizzling it here? So much of this oil is going to cook right off of these Brussels sprouts. So don't worry. You're not going to gain a whole bunch of weight from that amount of oil. Not to mention it's actually good oil. So all I'm doing is just marrying them together. I want to get all that oil on there. Get them coated up really good. And then I got my sea salt and I have my pepper here. And I'm going to be pretty liberal with the pepper. And then I'm going to be pretty liberal with the sea salt. And then I give them one more sea salt and pepper when I'm finished. So, got my sea salt and pepper. I want it to be mineralized sea salt, not just sea salt you picked up from Walmart or Target. This is something we sell at our gym. You can get it on Amazon. You could get it at O'Fallon Nutrition, or you could get it at Fresh Time or Whole Foods. This is Celtic sea salt. I'll post a picture as well. And if you notice, it says it is Vital Mineral Blend. That means that this sea salt has calcium, magnesium, potassium, sodium, chloride. It's not just sodium. So there's a big difference from putting table salt on your food and putting mineralized sea salt. You're actually helping to balance out your electrolytes when you put mineralized sea salt on your food. And you're not raising your blood pressure with that. Yes, there's some sodium in there, but there's also a balance of all of the other minerals as well, which is very important. A lot of people walk around and their electrolytes are out of balance. So here's my sheet cake pan. There's Sophie's Brussels sprouts for the week. She's going to have them with dinner this week, and she'll have them 2 times with her lunch. Then we'll have just a good meat that we'll share, with the Brussels sprouts. I'm going to throw these in the oven. I put them on the bottom because I'm okay with them browning, and they actually taste better the more that they brown because they start to actually caramelize. So I've got those in there, and what I'm going to do is at about a 20-minute mark, I'm going to pull that whole pan out, set it on my island, and I'm going to use this guy, and I'm just going to flip them around. I want them to move all around the pan, and if I feel like they're getting too dried out, I'll put a little bit more oil on them. But I want them to move because I don't want any one part of the Brussels sprout to get too browned. If you move them like that, they'll really caramelize on all sides. Okay, so now I'm ready. I'm going to make some baked green beans. So I've just used the parchment paper again, the non-bleached parchment paper, put it in my sheet cake pan, and I have literally 2 different brands of green beans because it's whatever is on sale is what I buy. So the Bird's Eye or the Deerberg's brand is usually the most inexpensive, so that's the one I get. I normally will microwave these for, let's see, I've got 5 bags, so I microwave these for 20 minutes. So it says 5 minutes per bag, but I just went ahead and microwaved them for 20 minutes because they're still going to be, they're not going to be frozen. I don't want to put them on this sheet cake pan frozen because that's not going to taste good. So we don't want to start out in the oven with something frozen. It always needs to be thawed out. So I'm just opening these guys up. I know I could have done this ahead of time, but I wanted you to see exactly what I do and that it's really not that hard to do this. And behind me, I've got the zucchini noodles sauteing, and I'm stirring them every now and again, remembering that you can get, Dolly's talking, I guess someone's delivering a package. She's really good at telling me when someone's here. But you can get those zucchini noodles at Pure Plates, and that's pureplatesstl.com. Or you can just call Pure Plates and tell them you want to order the zucchini noodles by the pound. Easy, have them delivered to our gym, but they also have delivery. So then you don't have to zoodle them, so that's going to save you even more time. Again, I'm putting 5 bags. And then I also have my riced cauliflower simmering back there with the mushrooms and onions. They're simmering on low. They've been simmering for almost 30 minutes now. I'm just letting it all brown. They wouldn't have to simmer that long, but I just like how they taste, so I let them cook that long while I'm cooking other things. So I've got 5 bags of green beans here, and what I'm going to do is same thing. Try to spread them out as evenly as possible. These are obviously going to touch, not like the Brussels sprouts. But I don't want any big mounds of green beans. And then I'm going to be relatively liberal with my avocado oil. So I want you to watch me do this so that you're not in fear, because so much of that oil cooks off of those green beans. And you know, your fat is so important. If you're hungry or tired an hour after you eat, you didn't get enough fat and you probably didn't get enough protein. Doesn't mean you should consume too much protein, because protein converts to glucose just like too many carbs do. But you probably didn't get enough fat and you probably didn't get enough protein if you're hungry and tired an hour after you eat. So make sure you put enough oil on your food and you account for the fact that it's going to cook off of there, okay? So I'm going to stir my zucchini noodles again because I can hear them simmering back here. I've kept them on medium this entire time. I like them to be on a little bit of a higher heat. So here's my zucchini noodles. I'm wanting to brown these guys, so I'm going to keep it on that medium heat. Now I've got my riced cauliflower, my mushrooms, my bone broth, and my onions all over here. They are more like a almost just on low, but a little bit above low, because I really want this to just kind of brown up. I showed it a little bit ago, but you can kind of see how it's starting to brown up a little bit. And it is tasty. I actually just put about a full spoonful of these green beans in a little bitty circular glass container, and then I put a little spoonful of that cauliflower, and that's what I eat for the week. So, all right, I've got my avocado oil here on the green beans, and I've got my pepper. I'm going to be pretty liberal with this pepper, and again, when it's all said and done, I'm going to put this on there again. And I will use mineralized sea salt, just as I explained. Don't typically find this at Earberg's or Schnucks. You're usually going to have to go to a place like O'Fallon Nutrition, which they have sitting on their shelf right now. We sell this at the gym, or you could get it at Fresh Time or Whole Foods, or you can just go on Amazon. Again, that is the Celtic sea salt that I use, mineralized. I do the fine ground. So because I put the salt and pepper on there, I'm going to kind of get in there and mix them up a little bit more, really making sure that all of the green beans have been touched with some oil and they're getting just spread out through that sheet cake pan. Okay? Now, I've got my sheet cake pan full of Brussels sprouts in the oven, and it's on the bottom shelf because I'm okay with those. I'm going to stir those around kind of midway. I'll do the same thing with these. 20 minutes in, I'm going to pull this completely out, put it on the island, and I'm just going to move it around. I use this little guy, I get in there and just move everything around, put it right back in. That way nothing gets too dried out, nothing gets too browned, but I do want it to brown a little bit, okay? So open up my oven, throw that on the top shelf. I do have a convection oven, but I didn't for 10 years. So you don't need a convection oven to put multiple layers of food in your oven. You just got to kind of switch it around every now and again. So if it wasn't the Brussels sprouts and I wasn't eager to brown them and it was just 2 pans of green beans, I would, after 20 minutes, put that top one on the bottom shelf and then put the other one up on the top shelf, because that can make a difference. So still working. We've been, the entire time of this video, I've been making these zucchini noodles. And all I'm doing is just sauteing them down. Buy them by the pound. Pure Plates is a great place to get them by the pound, and you don't have to work at it. And you're starting to see a little bit of browning in here. See that little bit of browning? That's what I'm going for, because it tastes delicious when it starts to brown. And then I'm going to bring my cauliflower over to you. And it's looking good. Here's my big old vat of cauliflower. It has the mushrooms, it has the onions, and I'm going to probably give it, just because I'm patient and I'm doing other things. It's not that big a deal. I'm cooking other things, so why worry about it? I'm not going to worry that it takes a little bit more time. I'm going to cook it for about 15 more minutes on low, and it'll be worth the time because you will taste that bone broth and the onions and the mushrooms cooking in with that salt and pepper, and it's just going to taste so good. And I get to eat that all week long. And then Sophie gets to eat her roasted Brussels sprouts that are down there at the bottom of the oven. And then I'm going to eat the green beans. And so when I make my food for the week, I use these little round Pyrex containers. I'm going to get one out of the dishwasher so you can see. And I just order these on Amazon. So I just use these. So I put a spoonful of the green beans, a spoonful of the cauliflower, and I'm good. That's my vegetable. So I eat that twice a day. I usually fast until either 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock every day. I do intermittent fasting, and that works for me. On Saturdays, I usually eat at around 9 o'clock because it's a pretty busy day and I wake up extra early. So I usually eat a little bit earlier on Saturdays. But I usually fast until about noon. I'll make coffee, and I'll drink coffee with a little bit of unsweetened coconut milk. I just put a dash of that in there, and it is the vanilla flavored unsweetened coconut milk, and there's no sugar in there. And so it says that 1 cup is 45 calories. I try to put maybe like a tablespoon. And then that's what I drink through my fast. I put pure stevia in there, just pure stevia, not any other type of filler, stevia with a filler in it. And I go through my fast. I drink plenty of water. Usually by the time I've gone through my entire fast, I've already drank an entire bottle of this, so that's 30 ounces. I've always taken my thyroid medication during my fast. I take my probiotics during my fast. And then when I go to have my first meal, I usually take a vegetable enzyme and I take a fat enzyme, and I also take a betaine. And that's really over time helped me to be able to break my food down. I'm going to go get those enzymes real quick, so hang on because I want you guys to see these. These enzymes have made a really big difference for me. And for those of you that know me, you know I have an autoimmune disease. So I've dealt with leaky gut over the years. Now I think I've really done a good job of almost repairing that at this point, but whenever I would eat vegetables, I would basically feel like I had a basketball in my stomach after I'd eat them. I didn't have to eat anything bad. You would think I just ate a loaf of bread after I ate vegetables. It didn't matter what vegetable. So I met with Dave with O'Fallon Nutrition, and if you haven't been to O'Fallon Nutrition, you are crazy. You've got to get there. I don't care where you live. You need to go to O'Fallon Nutrition. Nothing against Whole Foods, nothing against Fresh Time, but there's no comparison. Their staff really knows what they're doing. They really know what they're doing. They're not pushing a product because they make more money off the product. They're pushing a product because it's a it's a quality product. So when I go to eat my vegetables, before I eat, I take this Veggie Just, which is Enzymatica. I take this, and then I take the Lipo Gold. This is for fat digestion. This is for the carbohydrate digestion in the vegetables. And then I also take this betaine, and this helps to break down the protein, really helps to break down everything, but this also helps to break down the protein. That is what the owner of O'Fallon Nutrition, Dave, that is what he recommended to me when I talked to him about how my stomach was so swollen. How, you know, listen, I've been feeling better, I've been doing great with my Hashimoto's disease, but for some reason when I eat, my stomach just swells like crazy. And then in the morning, I take my probiotic. I'm going to get that so I can show that to you because I really believe in the brand of this probiotic. I believe it's made a huge difference for me. It is not kept in the refrigerator. It does not have any impact on you from a dairy standpoint because it doesn't have any dairy. This is the Garden of Life. There's a men's version that I give to John, and then this is the women's version. And I take 2 of these in the morning and 2 of these at night, and it's not an inexpensive route because probiotics are not inexpensive no matter where you buy them from, but it's worth it. It's really helped my stomach, and I just don't feel near as swollen when I eat. So that's my protocol. Every time I have, you know, when I have my full meals, I'll have that full meal at noon, and then I'll have another full meal around 4 o'clock. I have that protocol of enzymes, just to let you know. And then I usually come home, and in the evening around 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, depends upon when I get home from work, I will put the zucchini noodles in the skillet like this, and I'll start browning them. See how they're starting to want to brown a little bit? That's what's going to bring them in. And see how much they've come down? This thing was filled full of noodles, so this is 2 servings of noodles for me. That's why I told you, if you get 1 pound of noodles from Pure Plates, you need to consider that 1 pound of noodles what you're going to eat for a day, probably. That'll probably be 1 day's worth of noodles for you. But I'll come home in the evening to those noodles, and I'll have avocado oil on the noodles, and then I will grab my Vital Proteins, and I'll put 2 scoops of this collagen powder in a piping hot cup of hot tea, and I always do decaf because I can't have caffeine. It doesn't do well for me. So this is my green tea that I use, and we just get this at Deerberg's. It's nothing fancy. So it's just decaffeinated green tea. It is certified organic, so I guess that's good, but this is just from Deerberg's, and this little package has 3 tea bags in it. So I make my hot tea, and I put 2 scoops of the Vital Proteins, collagen peptides, and this is from a grass-fed source, and I will just drink that with my zucchini noodles. And then KB Wellness has been delivering bone broth to our gym, so a lot of times I'll come home and I'll drink an entire container of her bone broth. Like it's this size. I just drink the whole entire container of bone broth instead of the collagen peptides. I still drink a cup of tea. And then I have my zucchini noodles with that. So this is just a simple explanation of how I roasted those Brussels sprouts. A lot of people don't have any idea how to roast Brussels sprouts, and they don't realize how easy it is to roast them because Deerberg's did pretty much all the work for me. Green Giant has done all the work for me for the rice cauliflower. I just had to add some things to it. It doesn't have to be bland. You don't have to just steam something and then just assume that that's the way you have to eat it for the rest of your life, being super plain. That's the biggest mistake that people make, is they get to a point to where They don't put any effort into their food, and it's so bland and it's so plain, they don't enjoy eating it anymore. You can't do that. A couple more steps. Adding the mushrooms, adding the onion, adding the bone broth to the rice cauliflower, not just microwaving it, putting it in a skillet and just letting it slow cook makes all the difference in the world. I want to finish by telling you one thing, but I've got to do my veggies here real quick. Again, remember, I've got these noodles on medium. I've had them on medium the entire time. I've got the cauliflower on low, close to low, and then I've got my roasted vegetables on 350. For Christmas, I used my Christmas money and I bought myself some new boots. And most of you who know me know that I don't really spend much money on myself. John and Sophie have more clothes than me, and they always look really pretty, and I'm always trying to figure out what I'm going to wear from something that I've had for the past 10 years, and it's not even in style anymore. But I made a commitment that I was going to buy these boots. And the reason why I decided I was going to buy these boots was because they're really well-made boots. The brand is called Frye, F-R-Y-E. And, you know, I grew up, my family, they're from Kansas. You know, my grandfather was president of the stockyards. I grew up and watched people wear boots. And they wore boots year after year after year, and I saw boots that lasted, and I saw boots that didn't last. I saw boots that were comfortable, I saw boots that weren't comfortable. Why are you talking about boots, Debbie? Well, this was not an inexpensive purchase. Now, granted, it was on sale because of the holidays, so it was a little bit better. So I got one thing with my Christmas money this year. So I didn't get a whole bunch of things because I invested in these boots. And the reason I invested in these boots is because I know I'm going to do a video for you guys in 5 years, and these boots are going to look better because they look even better when they're worn, and these boots are going to hold out. They are worth the investment. So that's why I invested in them. So my reason for talking about the boots and the investment in the boots at the end of this video is because I want you to understand something. Your body is worth the investment. It's worth the investment in time. It's worth the investment in money for the food. It's worth investing in a place like Pure Plates. It's worth going to O'Fallon Nutrition and getting the right supplements. It's worth hiring a personal trainer. You can't just get a fitness center. Fitness centers fail you all the time. It's nothing against them. But just getting a membership at a fitness center is not going to change you. There are so many exercises you shouldn't even be doing in there. You're going to further imbalances in your body. You need guidance. You need to understand the why behind what you're doing so that you don't get hurt and you can actually change your body and feel better. We offer it's free. You have nothing to lose. It's a free fitness assessment. If you go to integritytraininggroup.com, you can get signed up for that free fitness assessment. We will have a trainer call you today to schedule a free fitness assessment. You can call us at 636-299-2208. Also, inquire about the 5-month nutrition program with me. I'll teach you how to cook like this. I will tell you exactly what to eat, where to buy it from, how to prepare it, what to order when you eat out, what you should be drinking, what you should do when you travel, any vitamins or minerals you should be taking, and where you would get those at, and what you want to avoid. Everything's figured out for you. And we're not going to chase a goal. We're not going to chase a scale. We're going to change your lifestyle, and we will give you a sustainable plan that you can continue to follow for a lifetime. And if seasons change and your body changes, then we make changes. That's the reason it's a 5-month program. I will teach you the science behind food. This isn't a macronutrient profile that you're going to get. Ingredients matter. I will train you on that and teach you on that. Please call us today if you are motivated. If you're not motivated, if you need help, if you need to be taught the discipline to be healthy, that's what we do. We change people's lives out of our facility. Please take a look at us at integritytraininggroup.com or call us today for a free fitness assessment or to inquire about that 5-month nutrition program at 636-299-2208. I'm so glad you all were watching. I hope you enjoyed the vegetable presentation on how I make my food for the week, but it was fun having you all in my kitchen. God bless you.